Fishing with the Zig Rig at the Octuba is always really fun because here we can catch many strong fighting fish at the most different spots. Yes, we have already tried the Zig Rig at the Octuba quite a few times because here at the Octuba we don't have changing water temperatures, and that means we can actually find out pretty easily and quite fast in which depths the Zig Rig is working. And right now I'm just fishing quite normal here with usual leader lengths, just like you would also do in regular bottom fishing. And look at that, it already seems to be working pretty well. I just tested different foam colors all on one aroma and it's going off really well. Already had a wild carp, also just been in a drill. Then there was just a bighead carp, and I think the next bighead carp is already coming in. Yes, really. And of course I'm excited what else will come in here. In terms of weight, it already looks really good at the moment. Here the next chunk, this is how the net looks right now. 16 kilos, 19 kilos, 15 kilos. So this is really fun. And this now, just in the morning hours, super simple right now. I'll just cast out again straight away. The spot, or actually the whole area, is always showing up in different records. I also already made a video here, for example, about white salmon fishing. Then we were standing, yes, here it goes on. Then we were standing in a tournament here nearby, also on Kutum. Kutum should also be running here. That's why I'm also testing with relatively small foam right now and different colors, as already said. All of this right now on crayfish. We'll check that in a moment. And yes, it seems to be working really well. Of course, we have one little disadvantage. With the Zig Rig, we are kind of limited by weight. We are capped here with a 31 kilo setup because the leader material only goes up to 31 kilos. That's of course a bit less. Theoretically, you could maybe even use a stronger monofilament line. But the recommendation was actually that for leader material, when you put together a leader in different lengths, you should say, okay, you take one of these special leader materials, not just a normal monofilament from the main lines, but really special leader material. Best would be from Carp X. This monofilament seems to be pretty good. Maybe I can quickly show it right here. Carp X, here we have it. And then we come exactly to 31.7 kilos. And with that, we of course have a fantastic monofilament. It has a very high transparency, which is of course very practical. In this case, when I build the leader, I have a 1.5 meter long leader. With that, we could basically fish directly on the surface. At the moment though, I'm rather using leaders with a length between 30 and 40 centimeters. And when it goes towards the evening hours, into the night, then I go down to this range here, like 10, 15, 20 centimeters, so shorter at night. And during the day, you just have to test in which areas the fish are staying. And here we go on right away. Yes. Man, this is running really well here. And then you just test. We once had a Q&A with RF4 about the Zig Rig. There were already several videos about it on the channel, just check them out. The videos are all still up to date. They are all about how to find out with the Zig Rig in which water layer the fish are right now. You just have to test it. At the Octuba, we have the advantage, and we already said that in the last videos, that we don't have changing water temperatures. The water always stays the same. And so you always find spots that work well, and then you just set it on classic heights. So don't use extremely long leaders. As already said, in the evening and night hours, you can go a bit shorter. Boom, the next one. Nice. And then the whole thing is running. I would say we'll take a look at the setups in a moment, and then that's basically it already. In the end, you always have to test yourself. Depending on how the weather changes and which temperatures you still have at the water, you always need to adjust a little. But here at the Octuba, we usually have very high temperatures. It's often around 30 degrees warm, so also not really big changes. About the spot, for those who didn't recognize it yet, it's right opposite the factory. Just cast out here. I just cast out 23 meters into the channel. This is how it looks right now. 13 minutes, mini bighead carp, and in the evening and at night, it's more the wild carp. I think he will also come in during the night. The setup looks like this. Zig Rig set, 36 kilo lead core, then the leader material, as said mono from Carp X, 31.7 kilos, size 1 hook. If it stays like this, you could also go a bit bigger, also use a 1/0 hook, and with the foam go up one size as well. But you are still capped at 31 kilos. So it will be a pretty hard drill, especially a strong fighting bighead or wild carp really goes in hard. At the moment I'm fishing here with the combination orange and lime, so orange and green, all dipped in crayfish. Orange and red stick also already worked, and just now one on orange and black yellow. Also, that needs to be tested. At first I thought, okay, a crayfish is maybe rather orange or rosé colored, but that's not necessary. There are very good results with completely different colors. One idea was also just take the colors of the boilies, because the boilies also sometimes have different colors. For example, black currant, you can get in yellow and in purple. Then you could also take yellow and purple foam or red and yellow as foam and imitate the black currant with that. But as said, you can also use completely different colors. You really have to test it. At the Octuba, orange, yellow, brown has often worked really well. And also green tones work again and again, especially orange and green stronger contrasts, or also black-yellow combinations. That works really well. And here it goes on directly. I'm curious what else will come in here, maybe even something rare. At the last test with the Zig Rig here in the sidearm, I also had Sterlet, but also shurg. So there's a lot possible here. It feels pretty random, and I'm curious, maybe the Aroma bobble will come in too. The Aroma trophy was already caught here a few weeks ago in a tournament, so also that worked with the Zig Rig. And now look here. Boom. Persian Sturgeon. Isn't that amazing? One of my favorite sturgeon species, if not my very favorite. This bluish gray, just beautiful. Really, really nice. And just here on the Zig Rig, size 1 hook with orange-red combination and crayfish. So quickly back out. Maybe there's more coming. It's just a bit, random, but when you have a spot that works, it's just fun because it's so colorful what can all come in. Maybe also a roach will come in or something else fantastic. Let's see what else happens. Just keep testing. And even if it's only bighead carp, it's worth it, especially in those sizes around 15 kilos. That brings really good cash. So quickly cast out again, tighten the line, and on we go. By the way, pay attention to this. I just had a bite where the line was already pulled away strongly, but there was no bite signal down here. Only after I reeled in hard and struck, the bite signal appeared. So watch out for that. That was right with the first fish, a wild carp. It pulled away at first, ran off without the signal showing. That is a bit tricky. If that happens and the fish pulls away for several seconds, then at some point just strike. You can't wait forever. At some point you have to strike. Strongest color combination for me right now, definitely orange and lime or orange and red. The black yellow was weaker. Maybe I'll change that soon into rosé or something like that. I'll test that next. And boom, here's the next one. Something smaller, but a good frequency. And look, also a Sterlet included, yes. So it seems to be working really nice here. And especially if you want to experiment a bit with the Zig Rig, this is exactly the right thing. Now another look into the net. What does it look like? Octuba is still in there. Very nice. So this is how it looks right now. That's of course really good in such a short time here. 20 minutes at the spot, 200 silver, also with those rare fish. That just comes with it. But as I already said, also the bighead carp here are worth it. That's really good cash. And if the frequency continues like this, boom, then you make really good silver per hour. Leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That helps me a lot. If this video helped you, drop some support and we'll see each other in the next video or in the next live stream. Until then, tight lines.